After 2 to 3 years of hard work, engineers and architects in Abu Dhabi had finally created a building structure that seemed almost impossible. This was the Capitol Gate building, specially commissioned by Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The biggest challenge was that the entire weight of this building, thousands of tons, was tilted to one side. Engineers feared that if the load calculations were even slightly miscalculated, the building could collapse instantly. The challenges faced by this construction team were perhaps greater than those faced by the Burj Khalifa team, because Capitol Gate's design came dangerously close to breaking the laws of physics. Just when the building was nearly ready for launch, a new demand arrived from Sheikh Khalifa. He wanted a helipad at the top of the building. This message struck the construction team like a thunderbolt. The structure was already at its extreme load limit. There was no space reserved for a helipad, and the original design did not allow for one. Yet, the engineers also had no courage to say no to the Sheikh. The only option was to somehow make the helipad possible, but the real question was, how? Capitol Gate, located in Abu Dhabi, is one of the world's most unique buildings. Though not the tallest, it shook the very rules of architecture. Standing 524 feet tall, most of its weight leans dramatically to one side. But this tilt was no mistake. It was the design itself. In fact, Capitol Gate leans 5 times more than Italy's Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is why it was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records. So why did Sheikh Khalifa want such a risky building? At that time, cities worldwide were competing to build unique and iconic structures. The winner would be the one that created the most different and most difficult architectural marvel. In 2007, Sheikh Khalifa decided Abu Dhabi would also join this race. Not with the tallest building, but with one so unique that people from all over the world would visit just to see it. For this mission, he appointed Sheikh Sultan, who immediately hired London's top architecture firm, RMJM. That was the very first step in bringing Capitol Gate to life. Challenge number 1, the design. The architects had to create something that went against their own established architectural rules. Several designs were rejected, until inspiration was taken from Abu Dhabi's desert dunes and sea waves. Architect Neil worked tirelessly and presented a design shaped like a rolling wave, with its base resembling sand dunes. From every angle, the building looked different. Challenge number 2, the foundation. The biggest problem: the top of the building extended 108 feet away from its base, creating enormous forces that could uproot the structure. To solve this, engineers designed an extraordinary foundation. 400 reinforced concrete piles were driven deep underground. On the leaning side, shorter piles were used, while on the opposite side, longer piles were drilled into solid rock. This distributed the building's massive load evenly. Challenge number 3, the deadline building. Such a foundation required massive excavation, removing 9,600 tons of soil, equal to the weight of 1,600 elephants. Normally, this would take 8 months, but a new problem arose. Sheikh Sultan announced a strict deadline. The building had to be ready before the Future Energy Summit, only 2 years away. Engineers now had just 24 months to complete the foundation, the tower, and the interiors. The foundation, which needed 8 months, was completed in only 3 months by working day and night. Challenge number 4, the core. Most skyscrapers have a straight central core. But for Capitol Gate, a straight core would have bent under the tilt. The solution? Build a curved core around which the rest of the building would be fitted. Challenge number 5, the heat problem. To construct this special core, millions of kilograms of steel and concrete were needed. But Abu Dhabi's scorching daytime temperatures reached up to 50 degrees C. Pouring concrete in this heat would cause it to crack. So, construction teams came up with a clever solution. Use chilled water instead of normal water, mix it with the cement at night, and even bring in ice from factories to control the temperature. After 5 months of hard work, the curved core was completed. Challenge number 6, the steel frames. Now came the real tilt. Engineers used a technique called dia-grid technology. 720 giant steel frames were attached to the core to create the leaning structure. Each frame weighed 16 tons and was uniquely designed. No two were the same. It took 5 months to manufacture all the frames in Sharjah and install them. Challenge number 7, the helipad. At last, the building was nearly complete. But then came Sheikh Khalifa's new demand, a helipad at the top. This was the toughest challenge yet. The building's load had already been calculated without accounting for a helipad. Engineers rechecked all structural calculations. The building could handle the helipad's weight, but high winds could make helicopter landings extremely dangerous. To test this, a wind tunnel model was built in London. Tests showed that in strong winds, a helicopter might indeed crash. The only solution was to modify the design by lowering the helipad by 2 meters. After this change, the helipad was safely added to Capitol Gate. Finally, the building was handed over before the deadline. The engineers and workers were praised worldwide for building the world's most leaning tower, a true marvel of modern architecture. So tell us, what do you think about this marvel in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe